In this short video, I'd like to talk about inflection. Derivational morphemes create new words, allowing for whole sets of words around the stem. Derivational morphemes change nouns into verbs, and verbs into adjectives, and adjectives into nouns again. Inflection, on the other hand, involves changing the grammatical form of one of the words. Inflection does not create new words. Inflection puts the S on plurals, making dog dogs. It puts the possessive S on nouns that possess other nouns, as in Peter's book. And it puts the ing ending on things in progress, when you're running or reading or dancing. Inflection involves changing the grammatical form of a word to make it agree with other terms. Here's an explanation of what inflectional morphemes do. Inflectional morphemes are not used to produce new words in the language, but rather to indicate aspects of the grammatical function of a word. So I hope you can understand the difference between inflection and derivation. So where derivation takes a word like bat and adds an affix and changes it into a word like batty, taking a noun and changing it into an adjective, inflection takes a word like bat and adds a plural s, taking a noun and keeping it as a noun. Derivation is necessary to make new words, to change the meaning, to give new meanings. Inflection just makes the words agree in form. Bats is a different word than bat in a way, but it's in a different way than batty is a different word than bat. Bat and bats has a lot more in common than bat and batty. It's a new word in a sense, but in a different way than batty is a new word. Morphological inflection adds grammatical information to a lexeme based on the particular syntactic requirements of a language. And some possible types of grammatical information it can add. It can tell us whether something's singular or plural. It can tell us whether something's first person, second person, or third person. It can tell us whether something's masculine or feminine. It can tell us whether something is happening now or happened in the past. Take the word settle and settler. These are different words. One is a verb, one's a noun. One refers to an action, one refers to a person who does that action. That's derivation. But settle and settled are the same word, just different tenses. Settled is the verb settle, but with a past tense marker. So, some examples of inflections in English. The third person singular, a verb plus an s representing the third person singular, go plus an es to be he goes to the store, the third person singular. Past tense, often marked by an ed in English. Ed endings would be an example of an inflection. Progressive tense, telling us something is still ongoing, a verb plus an ing form. A singular versus a plural, a noun plus s for the plural. Or possessive markers, again it's an s marking an apostrophe s or an s apostrophe marking the possessive. Look at this quote that I shared just a bit before. I can see 3 inflectional morphemes. Am I missing any inflectional morphemes? What are the 3 inflectional morphemes marked in red doing? So some types of inflection in more detail. Person. In English, we have the first person, I or me. We have the second person, you. We have the third person, she, her, he, him, it, Jack, the weather. Pretty much everything else is the third person. Another type of inflection in English, we mark number plus person, the third person singular, he goes. This is a matter of number, singular, plus person, third person. There are two different ways of marking gender. English prefers marking natural gender. French will mark grammatical gender. So grammatical gender, une chaise, un escalier. Natural gender, his chair, her stairs. Another type of inflection is tense. Tense is used to locate an event or state in relation to time. And English marks the past tense. He climbed the stairs. You'll often hear people say that English also has a future tense, but in fact, we don't use inflection to mark the future tense. We demonstrate the future using a number of workarounds, including a modal auxiliary, will, but we sometimes even use what's called the present tense. What's going to happen tomorrow? He is going is the progressive tense, but it's used to tell you something that's happening in the future. So English has a past tense, it doesn't really have a future tense. An aspect is different than tense. An aspect encodes whether an action is or was completed, or whether it's ongoing, repeated, iterative, or habitual. For example, he is climbing the stairs tells you that the action is happening now. It's an ongoing action happening now. He was climbing the stairs. It's an ongoing action that happened in the past. It was ongoing at the time that it happened, at the time being referenced.